I'm June Chapman, back with Mark and Eddie. In this video, we will be talking about how A10's products help higher education networks today meet the needs and demands of the customers. So, Eddie.
Hello, June.
Hello.
How are you? So, so our product, the ADC, we have a product called the CFW, which is part of the ADC suite. I'd say it's a super ADC, and it encompasses the standard load balancing that everyone knows and loves, as well as the SSLI function, which then allows customers to de-encrypt their traffic, take some weight off the firewall, and then send the de-encrypted traffic, if it's allowed to, obviously not banking traffic, but send that de-encrypted traffic to various devices. Reversing back to ADC again, to give more information on that. So we have a couple of customers that are using our boxes for radius authentication. So their Cisco ISR or ISE manages about 20,000 users, and of course, without the ADC, that's pretty difficult a task. So we load balance the radius authentications from different wireless concentrators across the campus and make sure that they are looked after and authenticated correctly. That's one of the key ones. Also looking at some of the extended features of the A10, like zero trust, how do you protect the users dynamically? We work in partnership with WebRoot to provide URL filtering, as well as looking at where they're going and what they're doing to make sure that they're not putting in bad keywords on their web browser, but also stopping them using their own Office 365 logins to get into their own personal mail. It only allows them to go on the corporate mail. So those things are all built into the product. Also with that, if they needed it, we have CGNAT on our appliance as well. So if the customer is running out of IP addresses or even private IP addresses, we can expand the IP ranges in their campus to get more efficiency from there, because it's amazing how quickly you can go out of 192.168 or 172.16 address ranges. It doesn't take very much to get rid of those addresses and run out. So just to give you some examples of customers that are using our services, so I have Surrey University, who are currently using our physical boxes to do GSLB between data centers, and they've just expanded out to a virtual network as well in the cloud, and we're doing GSLB additionally to the cloud. So what's nice about GSLB is global server load balancing, I should say, is that you don't have to have the same box. It can be virtual, physical, it could be in Azure, Amazon, Google Cloud, Alibaba, wherever you are, it can steer the traffic to various services. So physical, virtual doesn't matter, which is great if customers want a larger box on one site and a smaller box on the other. You don't have to worry about it, whereas standard HA, you need the same box. So another customer example would be Nottingham-Trent University, who use our appliances for that wireless authentication with Cisco ISE. They have 20,000 users using that on their mobiles or PCs or whatever, and it makes sure that they get authenticated through and get the right content to their boxes and their mobiles. So it kind of only gives them certain web page access depending on who you are. It then gives them certain access to certain places. So obviously the IT team use this as well. So when the IT guy logs in, he's got full access to everything that he can see when he logs in. So it's really good. It's a nice model, works well. Thank you.
So these products can be virtual and hardware products, and the licensing on all of these scale up and down. Is that correct?
I would say, yeah. So when it comes to virtual, your scaling up and down is kind of key there. When you're looking at physical, you kind of lock down to the box of what it can do. Yeah. You can, to a degree, right? So that there is ways you can turn on active on a physical box and share the load between the devices. So you haven't got like a box just sitting there waiting for the other box waiting to fail, and then you're not using the other one. So we can load share the traffic between physical boxes. But the real automation, orchestration, spin up and tear down, as they call it, is kind of more related to the virtual appliances. Okay. Even more so in a cloud environment like AWS, they have all the software in place that we can interact and integrate with to allow full scale up and tear down. But also, interestingly, as well as being a load balancer, we can also automate spinning up another server on the back end. as traffic increases. So it's not just about load balancing, it's
Yeah.
about spinning up a server. So we can do secure mesh implementations as well, which is microservices to web services or other services in the cloud. And it talks to our vThunder appliances, which then spin up the load balancing for those new servers that are being added in the microservices world. So we work in containers. So we work in containers, bare metal, and virtual machines as well. So a whole range, the whole broad range of different types of appliances.
I think the cloud stuff is quite important to higher education because a lot of them have cloud first strategies where they want to move more to the cloud and they want to do it cost effectively.
Yeah.
So with your virtual appliances, would you say that they're cost effective for higher education?
Very much so. We have two models actually. We have the flex pool model, which is, as it says in the name, is the most flexible. You can have a throughput value or a pool of 10 gig or 100 gig, whatever, and you can spin up as many virtual machines as you wish, which is great for teams if they want a lab license to work in the lab to do dev, QA, different applications. And it works in multi-cloud. It's not situated in one place. But it's amazing how much you get the other option. So even though we do flex pool, there's still customers that want to have a perpetual license. They want to pay for it, then it's their own, and they just add support onto the end of it every year or in a block. So it's amazing how many questions we do get saying, actually, I like flex pool, but can I just have my own license and keep it? Yeah, no problem. So we do that as well. So it's a nice flexible switch.
And out of interest, is it easy to migrate from a different vendor to A10? So if you're using a competitor's technology, is it fairly straightforward to migrate? Because with COVID, something I definitely noticed from customers is that they had a specific vendor tackling things like load balancing and stuff, and and SSL as well, and then they didn't want to move to a different technology because they didn't know the technology, because without experience it's quite difficult to migrate across to something that's completely new to them. So kind of is it easy to move from someone like F5 to A10?
Yes. Actually, that's the easiest switch, actually, because,
yeah.
So our terminology and the way we do load balancing is kind of, our CEO kind of made sure of this when he was building this product originally about 15 years ago. So he made sure that the terminology like pool and which is a service group for services is there within our products as well. So it's easier for a customer to kind of understand the terminology of F5 and convert that to A10, even down to the low-level scripting. So the iRule scripts, which is the brains of like rewriting, responding web pages to block people's where they're really going, to give them a different result on their web page. That language is convertible 100% over to our product. I'd say 99. There's some little niggly bits. Normally, what's interesting when you start doing the importing of their scripts, it's just a bracket or a symbol that's not quite in the right place. You put the space in and it all works. The actual commands themselves work. The actual key commands that you want to migrate and not fail work. And we have professional services teams that help customers with this migration process as well. I help them, but also we have PS to help them as well in a kind of more structured, here's a design guide, here's a structured plan of how we're going to migrate customer from one box to another. So we have that. They have a really good stage process that we can provide to the customer to upgrade.
Do you have experience of migrating from how many different technologies to A10? How many different competitors?
Yes, I've done Fortinet.
Yep.
Which is, I forgot the name of it now. Come back to me on that one. It's a funny name actually. So the Fortinet load balancer we've done, where myself and Mark have worked with a finance customer on that actually, a finance kind of design house. They're kind of a niche product. Coyote Point, there we go. So it was a Coyote Point load balancer. It's now part of the Fortinet suite. I've done Kemp load balancing conversions. I've done Cisco ACE conversions, and that's where our application delivery, not to go too technical here, but our delivery partitions where you can partition workloads into come from the Cisco ACE terminology. So if
Okay.
a customer there's not many ACEs out there now, but if there is, governments are sometimes slow to migrate. They might have some Cisco ACE somewhere. It's been a couple of years since I've seen that pop up. But yes, our partitions are very much based on terminology of how the vendors do it, like F5 or whoever, or Kemp or whatever. Also, because we're standards based, there is nothing that we can't convert. As in, if someone's doing offloading here or doing some kind of application, we can easily migrate across because we can do everything that a vendor can do. So our F5, our kind of feature set comparisons are very close to F5, which can make things difficult. But we do have areas that we're better in, that we can tip the balance and help the customer.
So I think that leads on to our next video, which we're going to do, which is comparing you to your competition. So thank you guys for this video, and we will move on to competition. Thanks very much.
Thank you.